Welcome back to another episode. This time I'll be playing the Vorcha Sentinel, and much like the previous incarnation of a Vorcha character I was playing, I'll be speccing for power damage and blood healing out of Bloodlust. Except this time I'll get to use the Flamer, which I loved so much on the Geth Trooper, except now I'll be even more durable. So let's give this a shot and see how it goes. This should be a pretty straightforward build, and if you've seen the Vorcha video and the if you've seen the Vorcha video and you've seen the what is it? The Geth Trooper, I don't imagine anything that happens here will be a surprise to you. But nonetheless, fire up Bloodlust as soon as I get in. Now, I did spec for range on the Flamer, but the range is still fairly limited, so I'm going to try and confine myself in this area. And what that's going to do is make sure that I have plenty of access around here to kill all of the things. All of them. I notice you're a thing and you're not dead. Goddamn. Vorcha may have become my favorite race in this, for multiplayer at least. They're just so brutal. And all of their classes are basically built around murdering everything. And I believe I covered it in the Geth Trooper, but the Flamer doesn't do all of its damage immediately. It does about 75% of its damage up front, and then the remainder is dealt over a few seconds afterward. But the remainder will actually stack and overlap with itself. So if you run your flame on somebody for a few seconds, depending on what they are, you may not need to continue, as you saw with that husk. I lit it on fire for a second or two and then walked away and just let it kind of die, because I didn't need to continue channeling on it. It was already dead. And look at that, just kill everything. Nobody gets to live. And as I covered in the other Vorcha video, Vorcha don't have a whole lot of shields, but they do have a good chunk of health, especially this one has about 50% more health than the Vorcha I was playing before. And on top of that, they have a ton of health regen through Bloodlust, especially since I spec'd for additional. So I'm actually a whole lot more durable than it may first appear. And you're going to see the screen kind of get this red tint pretty often because I spend the bulk of my time in combat with my shields down. And that's just fine. That's actually kind of ideal. Shields down is where I actually start to mitigate correctly. And so losing my shields is not a big deal at all. There's a data siphon over there. I'm feeling like this mission is going to be something of a cakewalk. And this is the N7 Destroyer. I actually recently got him, and I'm looking forward to playing that class. No, I'll go into more details about that when I get around to it. I'm thinking about trying to buy some additional guns to play with, instead of just buying the reserves pack. And we've gotten all the targets, and now back inside where I can be this lurking monster. Hey, come back here. I wasn't done with you. God, I can only imagine the smell though. Reapers are half dead, half machine as is. And I'm not killing them in a way that's conducive to an environment that doesn't smell atrocious. This building would have to just smell terrible by now with that. So also, while I'm talking about it, the Reapers, for anyone who's not terribly inundated with Mass Effect lore, they fight you by adapting your species with their technology. And so all of the Reaper forces were made based on an already existing species. The the cannibals were Batarians, and Batarians fell victim first. The Reapers ended up landing in Batarian space, and the Batarians were all but gone before anybody knew what was up. That's why you see mostly cannibals. Banshees were Asari, specifically the Ardayakshi, which were, well, I guess are, a genetic defect of the Asari, where Asari procreate by melding genetic material from their hosts, and they can extract genetic material from basically any host and adapt it to their own physiology. And so which kind of gives rise to the, anybody can bang an Asari kind of thing. But there's no actual, intercourse involved. Or at least not necessarily. I don't think they even have the anatomy for it. They just look like what we would call female. But the Ardite Yakshi are unable to control themselves during that melding process. They end up flaying the synapses of whoever they happen to be, getting it on with. The Brutes were Yogg, which are a primitive but highly adaptable species. They seem a lot like giant monkeys. The Ravagers are Rachni. It turns out that some Rachni had been surviving off in the distance, and the Ravagers were corrupted versions of them. And also, on another side note, the Rachni themselves are actually not this evil, universe-destroying and consuming species that everybody thinks they are. They were the first victims in this cycle of Reaper influence. The Rachni themselves were rather peaceful. It was the Reapers who made them into aggressors. Let's see, what forces didn't I cover? The Marauders are Turian. The Husks are actually the humans. And I think that covers all the Reaper forces. Of note, though, there are no Turian or Solarian Reaper enemies, which I think is interesting. I don't know if it's just a lack of necessity. They ran out of a need to create more units, so they just didn't do it, or if there's actually a lore reason behind it. But something to keep in mind. Now, let's see. Fuck, this is bad. And again, like I mentioned before, even though I'm very difficult to kill with bullets and whatnot, I am still every bit as vulnerable to sync kills as anyone else, which makes Banshees, once they actually get close, very dangerous. And until they get close, and if she wants to sit back like that, that's fine. I'll just breathe fire on her. And it did not work out as well as I'd hoped. But I killed him too. So, silver lining, right? light this Marauder up from this angle. Light the Banshee up some. Where'd she go? What? So screamy. Alright, so various forms of violence are happening. There's fire here. And the flamer primes fire explosions but doesn't detonate anything. I actually can't detonate any combos, but I believe the flamer... I believe it will apply the fire explosion multiple times with a single cast. And so now we hang out for a moment, light some stuff on fire a bit, get the healing. Yeah, okay, there's another one over there. Go! Get fire. A lot of Ravagers. Been there, I believe I've covered it before, but Ravagers fire in threes. So you wait for them to start shooting. They'll fire their 3 rounds, and then you go back to light them on fire. You can also predict when they're going to shoot by the little green beams, but sometimes the screen can get a little busy. Getting hit by 1 or 2 shots won't actually really hurt because I'm a healing monster. And so all I have to do is duck behind cover for a couple seconds while I wait for him to actually do the firing. And I'll fully recover. I'm not really that worried about getting shot at them a little bit. No. What? That hit me. Just get burned. There you can see how I just don't give a shit about her. Man, dumped that too soon. The one had started shooting and the other hadn't. So I started channeling fire based on the one's shooting instead of the other. No, that was my fault. That was 100% me. What are you fighting up here? Hey, princess. Yes, yes. Kill the little thing with the flamethrower. It's fine. Shit. And he just vomited out a bunch of swarmers, but, you know. All of my damage is a cone, so creating swarmers didn't help him for shit. And now we got fire. That's the 3rd shot, pretty similar to Marauder, similar to Ravager. Whatever. You can't kill me. Where's the jump? I'm also using the Tempest, technically. I don't think I've actually done anything with my gun yet. I just don't need it, you know? It's easy enough to get close to the enemy, and I'm dangerous enough that once I get close, I have no use for a gun. There's some bullets. Nothing else. I'm just such a demon. Vorcha are nasty. I can definitely see why, in lore, the other races hate Vorcha. They're hard to kill, they're nasty, everything about them is just aggressive and Hateful. And as though that wasn't enough, their society is just no better. It just reinforces all of the same. Like, do not give a shit. Light that on fire. And over here, light these on fire. Everything gets fire. Give the gift of warmth this Christmas. Alright, so everything died. That's good. That's good. So now I'm gonna wait here, because there's bound to be something trying to get to us. That's the extraction point, so I don't want to go too far from that. But I can't really fight at range either. Ah, those guys are gonna get flanked. Okay, good. The other guy's paying attention. Okay, they're all shooting down there. And they're fighting. Is there something down here? You need anything over there for me to fight? What is this? I wanna light stuff on fire. And again, with brutes, dodge to your left when they charge, and you're fine. Murder. Murder. Bring your shit. You. Bring your shit. Yeah. Back on, big boy. And to the left. Bring your shit. I got nothing. Oh. Right there. You're not even on the right side of the ship. You're terrible at your job. And a full extraction. So, I hope you enjoyed. I sure as hell did. And thank you for watching, and have a good one.